Hello, my name is Dominic Underhall-House and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today's episode I'm going to be looking at what is Cargo Run. So I've seen a few messages in the chat in Discord of people asking what it is, what are the best ways to work along the season track and to get all the early access rewards, and the answer to that is going to be Cargo Run, so I'm going to talk you through it and run through a quick run for it as well. So the first thing I wanted to say is the early access rewards are something that a lot of people are very interested in, and it's got some really interesting things on there. So you've got profile images, banners, a resource that's not too useful now but I'm assuming will have more uses in the future. You've got decals for painting, different paints, and you go all the way up to the end. You get to rank 50, you get a different skin for Extilior, which is awesome, and then if you go all the way up to 55 you get glitter paints as well. So obviously people are very keen to unlock these things. There's a lot of really interesting stuff in there, and one of the best ways to do so in terms of amount of experience for that track compared to time invested is Cargo Run. So before I get into this, I just want to say, if you're enjoying this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us over on Patreon. Anything you can do to support the channel is really appreciated. I think today we've got up to 315 subscribers at the time of recording this, so it is probably the same day you're watching this. I'm releasing this one later today, and honestly that's so exciting. It's been a big boost up from 300. It's been a really quick rise, so I can't tell you how excited I am. So for now, let's get into the Cargo Run and see what we can do. So with Cargo Run, there are 5 set lists you can pick from, one for each of the captains. Now what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to pick Zax. The reason is, in my opinion personally, Zax is probably one of the easiest ones to work with. You can actually see here, his crew's quite expensive. You're going to be able to play something turn 2. We've got Arya, which is a really solid choice, and then we can probably follow that up with Taria and try and just buff Arya on that front. But it's there are sort of varieties in here. I think these have all been changed around as unit costs get tweaked and things have been all over the place. For instance, if we look at Zax, I think at one point Blindside Esley was a 2-drop and Taria was a 2-drop and then down to a 1-drop I think briefly. So that's why they're a little bit all over the place with costing, but I still think Zax as a captain is the best thing you can do. So what you can see here at this part of the screen, just underneath my head, in fact bear with me just a second, whoop, there we go, just underneath my head we've got these 5 moons along here on the right hand side. So each one of these is basically a different boss that you're going to have to beat. So it's essentially like a PvP game. There'll be a few extra features in there, but there'll be a boss for you to take out every time as well. So just pop myself back up into position and we'll start the run. So Cargo Run is versus AI, and for each round that you win you get an increasing amount of experience which goes towards that season track, and the bosses are wild. The bosses get progressively more buffs as you go along, and we've come against one of my favourites straight away. So you're about to see this. This is Laser Squad. All of the bosses as well, they are made out of the miniatures from other units that either exist or are going to exist in the game. So it's really interesting to see. So Beam, Ray and Beacon are the name of the 3 little guys down here, and I'm really glad we've got them early on because later on they hit like a truck, but here we go. This used to be in the main part of the game, but now it's just limited to Cargo Run for now. And we get a choice between some assists. So assists give you basically bonuses. The little counters here are how many times you can use them throughout the game. Personally, I think Stim Burst and Disruptor are really powerful. Anything with movement base, the fact that these used to be in PvP is baffling to me now, but that's because the resource changes made it worthwhile it made it viable to have both. So we're going to pick the one we want, and you can see we get 2 assists down here. Now there's also Crates drop, and okay, I'm not going to lie, this is Stimulating Formula. So the pinky purpley ones are relics. You can have a couple of relics up here, and they basically are permanent buffs for the duration of the run. Stimulating Formula is my favourite Zax relic in the entire game. It's literally the one I want above all else, and we'll see why in a minute. It can essentially allow Zax to attack sometimes up to 3 times per turn, which, I mean, you'll see how ridiculous that can get. So the enemy has a very powerful character. So Laser Squad attacks 2 extra times per turn, so we can attack 3 times per turn, and whenever it destroys a target it deals 3 damage to all units in range. Now the really interesting thing about that is that the later on you encounter bosses, they can actually come against different buffs and things like that. So that means in the right situation, Laser Squad can actually be attacking 3 times a turn but with rapid fire, or it can attack 3 times a turn with some other sort of benefit as well. It's crazy. So I'm going to use Disruptor here, and we're going to show you what Stimulating Formula can do. So Unfortunately, we don't get to use all 3 activations here, because you need to. What Stimulating Formula does is whenever we touch an enemy unit, we immediately attack them. So here, we're just going to shoot Stitchy McPatchy. But before we do that, we're going to pull us together. So the reason we're going to pull us together, we're not going to worry about the damage from this immediately, we'll deal with that later on. Because we touch, we then shoot. Then what we do in a normal version of the, if we're sort of closer up, we then move into range, and then we shoot again. And now we can shoot again with our actual attack, and we've taken Stitchy down quite a significant margin already. Now because this game is still going to be points based, we're going to pop Arya down here, just get a few extra resources until this point, and we haven't seen any other crates drop. So sometimes you can see quite a few, there will be an audio cue when you hear them, but for now we're going to just take some damage from Laser Squad. But if Stitchy moves here, we're going to shoot it immediately anyway, because it happens on opponent's turn, and now Stitchy can't attack us. And their attack route is going to be through Stitchy, making it slightly harder for them to hit us. They've got Lifeline, so one of their assists, because the bosses get assists as well, it's restore 5 health to an ally with 5 or less health. So they can only use that one more time, and we've now got enough damage to take out Stitchy McPatchy. The fun thing with Taria, when we play that next turn, is each of the triggers onto Zax will also trigger onto that as well. Okay, so now that we've got... Ooh, what have we got over here? Okay, so here's the awkward part with this. We really obviously want a Florio. So what I might have to do here is just try and deal with Stitchy in a way that actually pulls me back. So let's pull ourselves over here with Stitchy. In fact, let's do this. This isn't going to work. Let's just make sure Stitchy dies first. So this is going to push it into the range of this. But because... Oh, that didn't actually pull us out of range. Oh, that's awkward. So that actually changes things drastically. So we are actually going to pull back here, because that didn't actually work as we wanted it to. We'll take a regular attack here, just to get that finished off. And we're going to use Arya to actually finish off Stitchy here. So we just need to get things done, and then we want to deploy... Honestly, it's probably just Taria. Taria gives us the most most damage onto the objective there. We've kind of positioned ourselves a little bit awkwardly here, but I'm okay with it. Going off of this is awkward, but also Torian's going to be really difficult for us to deal with. But because we've got Taria, we might be able to get down here. Okay, that miss is unfortunate, because that would have been nice to hit. Okay, and they're going for Arya. So, in theory, we could probably take out Torian here, and I think that's what we need to do. They've gone for a couple of shots in different locations. Yep, so we're actually taking a lot of damage. So next turn we're going to move to get Florio, but we need to... Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of interactions here, so it's quite strange sometimes, but what have we got here? Fate Twister Tantan. Ooh, that's a nice one to pick up. Okay, so I think we are going to seize initiative here, and we're going to try and send Zax on the attacking spree. So we're going to try and take out Torian first. If we get one hit here, we're in a good position. Perfect. So now Arya can take this shot. If we just use our stillness here, we can go for that. And now we just need to start clearing things out as quickly as we can, but also picking things up for next turn. So I want to deploy somewhere we can move onto that objective. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move over here, shoot this, and then I think I'm actually going to disrupt on myself. Actually, no, let's Stim Burst. Let's Stim Burst here so that Taria can go over here and pick up Florio, because Florio will be a nice addition to our team. And then the question is, what do we want to try and finish off? To be honest, we can just finish off Crankbait here, and in the final turn we get... Oh, of course we can't. That's not how it works. Oh well. I made a mistake there. I forgot that because we were in base contact, then left base contact, that doesn't trigger it. This is... You can tell how long it's been. Wow, these indicators have gone very strange recently. So I guess we just put this way, get the extra damage from this out here. That's what the rapid fire is doing there, getting us those double attacks. And to protect ourselves, I think we're just going to put Chuck and Co down. So there's nothing else here that's like a big damage boost. We don't want to move Arya. We want to keep her stillness buff. And there's nothing else we really are that worried about collecting. So we'll stay here and we'll try and just go for more and more damage next turn and start hitting away at the captain. Because I messed up this, it probably wasn't worth even doing anything to Crankbait. We should have just pushed over here instead. So now we're going to just spend all of our resources on trying to kill the enemy captain and seeing what we can do. Okay, so they've used their second lifeline now, so they've got no more heals available. And they're going for very low accuracy shots. They got one though. So the way the game works out, each of your units heals 3 at the end of the battle, but also in addition to that, your captain heals based on how much cinder you have left. So it's really worthwhile making sure that in your final turn, when you're going to kill the enemy captain, you make the use of all the cinder you have available. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this. Okay, so the cinder there's gone. So how can we deal as much damage as possible over here? We're going to go for this first. We're going to bring Taria in, and we're going to try and get something onto Zax. Because that stimulating formula, by the way, is not just any... It's any unit. It's not specifically just captains or anything like that. Okay, so we can't reach onto Zax, so what we're going to need to do is just gravity disc everything into here and just pull it all nice and close together. So this will just get us a bit of a trigger into that, which is perfectly fine. It works out well for us. And lets us get Taria and... Okay, well we didn't get into range after all. I thought we were going to be in range, but we were. So Zax is just going to move over here. Sorry? What? There we go. We do need to try and find a way onto this. So I suppose it might even just be deal 4 damage. I'm trying to think out what's best to do here. Like, we're not going to use Florio this turn, really, so I think maybe we just... You haven't attacked yet, so... Yeah, I think actually we're better off just killing other units, but let's just go for this anyway. And this will push them into here, which gets us that trigger. Let's put a mine down. We haven't got any mines down yet. Arya could go for a trigger if we wanted to, but... To be honest, I'm kind of just fine taking that hit back, but there's no reason to risk it. So let's just pop down here and protect our captain a little. That's all I'm going to do with Chuck. And Florio can just move in a little bit. Nothing else to protect us really, so we just want to keep things in place. So we're going to pop down a sentinel over here and try and just make life difficult. Yeah. So what you'll notice as well though is we're going to try and save all of us in the next turn. We want to spend as much as we can now, keep our captain as healthy as possible, so that next turn we have as many resources as we can. Okay, so they're just running away. Interestingly, where they've moved to, unless they kill Arya, Arya can just straight up kill their captain now, because we can just shoot and then move into base contact, which damages them again. If they toss here, then that's also bad for them, because it just puts me guaranteed in range. The interesting thing about that is, so because they pull us into range, okay, they've tossed over there. It doesn't do any it doesn't do anything basically. They've tossed themselves. They pulled us in. We hit them back because Zax has knockback, and Zax having knockback is one of the main reasons why he's so powerful. So they've not really got anything to do here apart from deploy, hit and run. It deploys and immediately gets hit. So all we need to do here is save our Cinder and see if there's anything else we want to pick up. So there's a Deadeye over there and a Broken Vengeance. I want both of those, without a doubt. Now you can only have 10 units in your roster, but also anything that dies is gone for good. Like, completely gone. There is nothing else at all. It is just completely disappeared forever. I think we're close to losing what we need here. So we're not going to get Broken Vengeance, but that's fine. Deadeye's perfectly good. So we can move in here, take this shot, and take a regular shot. And that's our first round of the cargo run. So that hopefully gives you an idea of what the first round is going to look like. I'm going to play maybe one, maybe two more, depending on how quickly we can actually buff up Zax. We might end up doing the whole thing. It's all just dependent on how long I've got to record and how long I can do to get this out. So you can see we gained 50 XP. I believe it goes up by by 25 each time. But we'll play one more. You can now see though these units that we've picked up are now permanently in our roster. We are low on health on some units, so we're going to need to find ways of healing them. But that's the way that the cargo run progression works. Now what you'll also find is the bosses get more difficult, but you get more powerful. Ooh, okay. I have not seen this in a while. I've not done a cargo run in quite a long time, so this will be an interesting one. This is a difficult boss to face. So you'll see in a moment, this is Yin Gao Shui Sui. So once this pops up, we're going to want anything that stuns or heals versus this basically. because that is a very, very difficult... Like, movement assist is still fantastic. So this is stun and stim burst, which is reasonable, but it might just be that we want to kill her as quick as possible. I think status field might be the play still. We like the one, so it's a once per game stun, and it just means that we can protect ourselves against them forever. So add Snarling to our roster and restore health to allies. We can't get Snarling on our roster yet anyway because we have too many units. There's no shot to take, so we're just going to deploy Deadeye. And to be honest, I think we can just deploy... In fact, let's just gain some health back. And we will grav disc just a little bit further in that direction to get Deadeye on there. We don't want them box. We're going to stay back ourselves so we can just worry about getting our accuracy across. Basically, what Guy and Galshua Sway does is whenever they're in range of one of our units, for 2 Cinder, they can take control of one of our units with a 75% chance, but they have to be injured to do so. So this is why what we want to do is make sure that we get as many healthy units out as possible. So we're going to take this shot here. To be honest, normally I would want to rush down Yin Gaoshua, but I think we need to just try and take out their units and swap places with these. So that, okay, I was not expecting that, to be completely honest. I'm going to swap places with these so we can keep Deadeye safe. We will Ozos ourselves here, and I think we're just going to pop a Sleeper Mine in this direction, trying to protect it. We don't have any other units we can deploy yet, and so what we want to be doing... Oh, I thought I was on that. Oops. What we want to be doing is trying to just take their units out, but keep ours as healthy as possible. It's really important to try and do that. So there is only a range on the ability, it's not huge, but... Okay, so they had the stun as well, and they've used that straight away on us. You can still deploy when you're stunned, so we're going to have a pretty reasonable time there. That's very unfortunate. Okay, Broken Vengeance as well, yeah. Funny enough, usually Zax would be great against Broken Vengeance, but that's not the situation we're in right now. So we could deploy Arya. Arya's fairly safe. To be honest, Sentinel could be a pretty good one if they come at us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy Sentinel here. I'm going to Ozos onto ourselves and just take a shot onto their Deadeye and keep ourselves safe. And we can't use our abilities or anything, so that's just the end of our turn. Oh wow, we're actually going to lose on points. I keep forgetting that we're not on that point. I maybe should have played differently there. So we actually might lose on points, which is a terrible thing to have happen. We're probably going to end up sticking Arya back here as a defensive play, but if we can clear them off for a couple of objectives, we're in a great spot. Zax's damage output is going to fairly quickly annihilate Broken Vengeance. If we can get Flechette to reach both of those and then do all of our triggers, we should be in a good spot for that. So we don't really need Fixer or Snarling yet, but if we lose a unit we can pick them up, because we can only have again a maximum of 10, same as ever. This is fine. Yeah, this is fine. Again, the damage isn't as relevant because we're going to heal a lot at the end, and I think this is going to be a Stim Burst turn where we push in and try and just end as many of their units as possible, depending on what they come up with. Okay, Jailbreak is funny because it doesn't really matter into Zax. Okay, unit permanently gains armor. Now that's a good one, but also it does actually affect the captain. So this is what we're going to do first. We will take the attack back from Broken Vengeance, that's fine. We're not too worried about that. So we're going to move in here and shoot. There we go. Got our rapid fire there, because that was our shooting activation. Just to clarify that wasn't just a random thing that happened. We want to grav disc so that we're touching them, but not touching Jailbreak. This looks about right. There we go. We've got that kill there. Oh no, we haven't used Jailbreak. Oh, do we just have rapid fire somewhere? Hang on. Why did we attack twice then? We haven't picked up rapid fire from anywhere. You can get rapid fire in this on your captain as well, but interesting. So actually in this situation, I'm going to stun Jailbreak because I think he's the biggest threat to us right now. And so we're going to just move around and try and take him out as quickly as we can and just mount up pressure to go towards Yin Gaoshua. Funny enough, because of this now, I'm going to put Arya down here and try and get Arya to use the armour, because we're not going to get our captain to it very easily. We'd like it on our captain, but Arya's a good unit, a strong one, and we can make good use of it in this situation. So we do only have a few turns left before this starts going crazy, but we can absolutely just take out their units in advance, and we should be absolutely fine, because we can now start ticking. Oh, of course they have Vortex. So luckily we only take 2 damage rather than 3, but I completely ignored the Vortex that they had here. But now, okay, this is going to make us hit them immediately. And now I think we have to start turning onto the enemy captain. The difficulty is, how do we go about doing that, and what's our best damaging route? So if we move Deadeye up, what's the best angle? Okay, so Deadeye can just put some damage down onto their jailbreak. That's going to be Deadeye's plan. We missed, of course. So we're going to push with Zax. Go for that. We're going to move back, but we're also going to pop a Sleeper Mine down at an angle that blocks them in, but they can't just throw it straight into us, basically. We don't want it to be right next to them, so it uses their movement as well. Arya's going to use Stillness and just go for another poke in this direction. And then, even though we've just used Stillness, we are going to run away, because we're not going to be safe against Yin Galshua from there. So she might be able to get in range and actually start damaging us. And we need to put out a bit more damage, so we're going to put Taria... We haven't lost a unit yet, so Taria and Fixer are just going to head over here. Not Fixer, Blindsider Ezli, and just try and push damage through for next turn. Because Blindsider Ezli, with all of our Cinder spent and a huge amount of speed, can just end someone very, very quickly, especially with Stimulating Formula, making him attack twice. So let's see where they go for... Okay, so they're going to move in here, but we shoot immediately, so that's why melee units aren't quite as good. We've used this mine effectively to block off here. They're going to have to use movement and an attack to deal with the mine. I don't think they're in range of this. Let's check mind control. Okay, yeah, they are out. They could hit Deadeye, actually. That's not good. But the interesting... Oh, they could hit... Oh my goodness, they could hit this. Fail, fail. Oh dear. So... Funnily enough, we are now in damage mode. We need to race them to get this off the battlefield, because otherwise they're going to start taking all our units away. So this was actually a mistake on my part. I didn't think they'd be able to get to Deadeye. Sorry, well, didn't think they'd be able to get to Turret for certain. Ooh, Fixer's got... sorry, Yuki's got Charge. So Charge can be given to random units here as well. We're just going to start taking shots on the captain, missing the 84%, because I figured we'd need to save our Cinder. So we'll seize initiative here. And I think the only thing we can really do is just go for release Ozo, so make sure we get this and push onto the enemy captain. We'll pop a Sleeper Mine down over here, say. And we need to split up so that we're not losing too many units at once to the AoE here. So now we can use Ezli to just move over here and take a big hit. We get a hit back, it's fine, but then we can actually just go for another hit and clear this out. And then next turn, that's something we can really make a good use out of. Best angle we've got a 60-ish, 62, so we'll take 62 over here. And we are going to just have to push. We're missing all the big shots. We'll go for a Chuck and Co. So Chuck can move here to help us defend against things. Again, it's not a great situation to be in, but we'll be fine. If we kill Yin Galshua, we get our Sentinel back at the end anyway. They've not got much to kill anything except Deadeye, maybe. I don't think they can get to Arya, so we're just going to push the enemy captain down and try and deal with that. Having Blindsider Ezli over here is a big part of this, because we can quite easily get 12 damage off of Ezli alone. And then if we find a way to like knock them back with Zax, push them back in range. Okay, so they're just going to move up and try and steal Ezli instead. Reasonable. Okay, so they're not in range to just take it. 1 in 4 chance of succeeding for us. Nope, so they've taken that, that's fine. Again, we're not doing good here. This isn't a great spot, but it's not the worst. Yeah, we can easily just push damage through. We can kill Blindsider Ezli if we need to, but Yin Galshua is one of the hardest bosses to deal with early on. But now we can say pick up Fixer, and they've got heals as well. Oh, this is actually kind of funny. I like this. So we might actually lose this round. This could be the first cargo run I've lost in ages. And they've got double Sentinel now. So actually, I think we're in a very difficult spot here. I don't know if we're going to have a chance whatsoever. So it may just be that we have to try and find a way to contest on points, but I don't think we've even got enough points to do that. So I'm going to try and take out the plant first. Plant is a problem. We're not going to use all of our resources quite that easily. So if we rapid fire here, we're going to move in and just take this hit, and we're going to try and block off Blindsider Esley with a turret. No, Sleeper Mine rather. So we're going to just take this shot here, kill that. And we're going to just start bringing in the damage and just trying to see if we can get any lines of sight that would be harder for them to hit with certain things. I actually think we do need to hit Esley down, which is an unusual one. Sleeper Mine about here to block things into place. So this side of things, we're going to still just go for range shots somewhere, but we need to figure out where to go. I think if we go over here, it forces them to sort of allocate in multiple directions. We are missing everything. So let's get Arya over here. I'm going to block off Yuki so Yuki has to move in this direction, and just take the long shot over here on the captain. There we go, we make that one. Like, Chuck can at some point toss this away, but right now I think I'm more inclined to just move forwards and try and be proactive. And then we're just going to pop Florio down. How far can Esley move? Esley can move basically anywhere they want to. So to be honest, I'm not really sure where we put Florio if we want to keep it safe. I'm going to put Florio down over here. Just try and keep it as far away as possible and see what happens. I think we actually might have lost this, which is a really entertaining thing to happen. I think normally I can do quite well against the AI bosses, but on this one we've just got a couple of turns where they've got into range and taken a couple of our units, and this is like Turncoat, isn't it? So here's Galshra. You can see the sort of the same influence as Turncoat there. I think this is an awesome model. I really love the sort of the big headdress backpack thing. But we'll have to see, because they can now try and take Chuck. They can try and take... I mean, they can't get over to these two very easily, but we're going to have this start snowballing out of control. The fact they've gone for that is great news for us. It does mean we've got a bit of a better chance. Yeah, they've taken Chuck as well. It's been a while. I am not playing the smartest game of Moonbreaker I've ever played. But... yep. Well... I mean, I'm not infallible. I've definitely got plenty of times where I've made big old mistakes. And this is very much one of them. I think here I'm going to just concede, probably, accept my losses. We're going to just move as quickly as we can and hit the enemy captain for all that we've got. See if... These misses are hilarious. So we'll take 60%. Oh my goodness me. This is so funny. So we're going to move over here and shoot. Here we go. We're going to just, I guess... I mean, we could just shoot here, I suppose. I mean, it doesn't do anything. None of this matters. We're dead next turn. But so, some of the things to bear in mind. Some of the buffs that you can get in this game later on is things like you can get additional attack on your units. There's things that allow you to refresh all of your activated abilities and things. You can have loads and loads of different things that add up together to being a ridiculous unit, and Zax is one of the ones that can really take advantage of that very, very well, because he can just... In fact, we're going to lose on points. We've lost this like multiple ways. Zax can trigger things multiple times. Honestly, when I first got that pickup, I thought I was guaranteed on this. But, so, there we go. You can actually see a full cargo run, but it's one that we've lost. Can't believe I'm putting this on YouTube. So we've lost to Yin Galshar. We lost by points. They've taken a couple of our units. Oh, does that mean... What's this? Oh, it's because we got a box, is it? Or is that actually just a level up? That'd be weird if that was a level up in here. I feel like that's just like an upgraded unit. But there we have it. That was our first cargo run. And we didn't even get to see extra rewards. But actually, once you get a few games in and you're more practiced than I am, it's much, much easier to go through these, get a good amount of XP and work your way up this season track or early access rewards and pick up all the different things that you want. So there you have it, an embarrassing video for me to put on YouTube for you. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us on Patreon. Anything that you can do to support the channel is greatly appreciated. But for now, thank you so much for watching that monstrosity, and most importantly, have a good day.